Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network. Coming to you with another edition of Money Mention Mondays. And today, the topic of discussion is, let's talk about Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti's been making some moves recently with CMG. And so kind of let's break some of that down. So Yo Gotti recently signed a new female artist, Lehla Samia. And she is a female artist and was signed to CMG a few days ago. It was announced. And so just in line with that, let's talk about Samia as an artist. So Lehla Samia, she's an R&B artist, which is a little different for CMG. So as we know, all of CMG are all rappers. And so her being an R&B artist is kind of showing that CMG may be taking a little shift where they're getting a little bit more diversified in who they're putting on their roster. And so Yo Gotti is looking to add a little R&B in the mix. So he did sign Lehla and announced that just a few days ago. And there's been kind of a lot of buzz around this. CMG has been signing quite a few artists lately. And recently I did a video talking about Mozzie signing with CMG. And so we know earlier this year, Mozzie signed with CMG and it was $1 million deal. So a big deal. Mozzie being a very big artist from the Bay Area, Sacramento area. That was publicized very heavily as well with the whole CMG press conference. So now, months later, we are hearing about Lehla Samia being signed. And so just talking about this whole kind of publicity going around with her signing, there is also a video circulating where Yo Gotti has gifted Lehla with a Lamborghini SUV, if you will. And so it's like a hot pink SUV, very nice car, by the way. And in the video, Yo Gotti is, gifting her the truck. She's very, very excited. As you can imagine, you know what I'm saying? You just signed to a new label and it's a label with a lot of notoriety already, as we know. And then, as a cherry on the top, you're also gifted this beautiful hot pink Lamborghini. So, it was a very, very exciting moment. And, the video kind of shows how emotional that Lehla was in receiving the SUV, but she was keeping it cool too. And then they just proceeded to kind of pop champagne bottles and kind of celebrate. And this was just a celebration of her signing with CMG. So it's like a cool little short video. And it's definitely an interesting way to kind of talk about a new signee to CMG, but then also kind of a little subtle flex as far as like, oh, this is how you treated when you're signed to CMG in getting this gift of a vehicle. Now, it wouldn't be Money Mention Mondays if we didn't kind of break down some numbers, right? So let's talk about this car that was gifted, okay? So this was a 2021 Lamborghini Urus. That is a specific car that was given, and it is technically a SUV. And so what's the value of this Lamborghini? And so in doing some research, it's valued at least $218,000. And so this is a car that's worth almost, if we're gonna round to the nearest, it's like $250,000. So it's not too shabby. This is a very, very valuable car that was gifted to this new artist. And so just getting in the mindset of her, right? If you're thinking about being a new artist, just signed to a label, you feeling like there's all these opportunities in front of you. You're signed to a label that has a lot of other, rap artists, hip hop artists, and here you are, R&B singer. So you're knowing that you're coming, with a different talent, and then you're gifted, with this almost $250,000 value of a car. So it is a good look on her behalf, and so it's one of those things where only time will tell, as we kind of continue to look at how this whole situation expands, and whether this is a successful partnership. This is also an interesting update for CMG and Yo Gotti overall, if we're thinking about Yo Gotti's history. So, if you've really been paying attention, Yo Gotti's been trying to sign a female artist for some years now. So if we think about it, if you remember way back, y'all, it was way back when Nicki was first starting to bubble. It was for sure that Yo Gotti was trying to sign her. You can see it in the fact that, they were doing a lot of songs with each other, featuring on each other's songs, and kind of collaborating a lot. And so as she was first starting to bubble, it's very clear that Yo Gotti was interested in signing her. Obviously, that didn't pan out and fall into place, but that is an artist he was looking to sign. And if we're thinking about it, everyone remembers 5 Star remix, with Gucci Mane, Trina, and Nicki Minaj, which was Yo Gotti's song. And so some may say that that's the first time they really saw Nicki, or heard her rhyme. And then a lot of other diehards would say, oh, it was years before then that I started paying attention to Nicki's moves. So that was back in 2009, that 5 Star song. And so that history is kind of going way back, and Yo Gotti was interested in signing. Also, we can't forget, it's also been rumored that Yo Gotti was interested at one point in signing Meg Thee Stallion years back. And so that's another prominent, female artist that Yo Gotti was interested in signing. And obviously we know that that did not happen. But at the same time, it's interesting to see that throughout the years, he's had that goal in mind and it just never kind of fell into place. And now, this year in 2022, years and years later, after 2009, he has finally signed Lehla, a female artist. So we'll just keep our eyes open with how this partnership goes, how Lehla's kind of career goes as a part of CMG. And just like anything else, only time will tell how that goes. Okay, so we gonna stay tuned for that. And so moving on into other money mention news, Future has been kind of busy, on his socials lately, and causing a little bit of a buzz because he recently shared a tweet a few days ago where he's basically saying he makes $1 million a show. Okay. And so that's what he's suggesting in his tweet. So his tweet is basically quoting saying, how many trap niggas can get a meal a show, ? Hashtag I'm that nigga. And so he's basically identifying himself as, hey, I am one of those artists that can get $1 million a show. And how many of those do you know? So he's identifying himself as someone who makes $1 million for live performances, $1 million per show. That's a pretty big bag to receive for just one show. So, if that's true, then kudos to Future. It's an interesting kind of number that he's throwing out there, a whole meal. And, it's worth mentioning, too, that Future did just drop an album. And interestingly enough, the album is called I Never Liked You. That's the title of the album, I Never Liked You. And so, hey, maybe this was just a way of, another variation, a way of promoting his album and bringing attention to himself as an artist and his album, since he just dropped that album. And then on the other hand, if we're thinking about that album title saying I Never Liked You. So maybe this tweet was just one of those kind of personal flexes to whoever he's referencing in the album title that he never liked. So maybe this is a flex for those that he doesn't like and doesn't mess with. So who knows? But we're gonna just kind of keep our eyes open for other little money plays that are happening in the game. And this has been another edition of Money Mention Mondays. And as always, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network.